Good evening, good evening, and good evening. Did I not think that I would be smiling this evening? I feel like I've aged 83 years since the Wolves game. Um, Thank you to everyone that's joining us. This is going to be a show that I don't even know how I'm going to host properly. God, thank God we won. Anyway, I'm going to try and compose myself. Chris, unfortunately, is not well, so he would have been hosting tonight. So you got me tonight. I'm really sorry about this. I am not prepared. I'm all over the place, but we will dive in. Give a big shout out to Mervyn. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you
to
for
talk about
coming
what
on.
we're about to talk about.
Jeez. And hello to my podcast brother from another mother to the left of me, right of me, whatever way it looks. James, you all right?
Yes, I'm very well after that. Certainly feeling a lot better than I was Wednesday evening, but we'll park that chat for the time being.
Everyone in the chat room, thanks for joining us. I know there's loads of pods gone live now, ones that are much bigger than ours, but we really welcome all your comments, questions. I don't know how long we're going to be on for. We're supposed to have started 20 minutes ago. But due to the comms at the lane and due to the comms for me, I'll tell you, we're in sync, both of us. I had a bit of an issue at the beginning. They had a bloody issue. Honestly, I've never seen a game like it. So, James, we haven't even spoken about Wolves. I think let's just stick to Tottenham. Wolves was just a bloody nightmare. It was a mistake by Gabriel and Raya. I personally think it's a Raya mistake. You come away from that and you're going, Jesus Christ, we got to play Tottenham in a North London derby. They've had like 4 months off. They've got a new manager. They're desperate to avoid this relegation fight they seem to be possibly going into. And they want to stop above everything else. They want to stop us. There is no doubt in my mind. Tottenham fans want to stop us. So going into this game, I have to be really honest. I did not think we were going to win. I know Tottenham are poor. I know a lot of players are out for them, but I just think with our form and confidence, James, that I wasn't confident. So let's just start at the beginning. Was you confident? Did you expect that team? And nice to see Erdegaard on the bench.
Yeah, to be honest, I was pretty subdued going into the game because I was so disappointed with Wednesday, and I was probably still in a little bit of shock at what I'd just seen because I don't want to say that Wolves game was ever a foregone conclusion, but that's the one that you think you have to win that game. If you've got title credentials, you have to go to bottom of the league and win, even more so when you're 2-0 up. And it was just a real shock to the system to see us. Well, it was a capitulation, if we're being honest, and that's not a word we've used a lot with Arsenal this season. So it was just a real shock to the system. So going into this game, my attitudes and feeling was very much, well, look, do you want to win this league or not? If you do, then you go out there on Sunday and you win. And anything else, then you can kind of kiss goodbye to the league title because it's not, I wouldn't say it's quite do or die territory just yet, but I mean, we've given City an awful advantage through a poor run of results that we've had. I mean, they're still in pretty similar form to us at the minute, believe it or not, but we've let them get a lot closer in this title race than it ever should have been. So to see us making those mistakes, to see us conceding so soon after scoring in games, not just in the game against Wolves, but in games ever since Christmas, really, there were warning signs there. We've spoken about mentality and does this team have a fear or an emotional problem when it comes to this stage of the season? All those kinds of those elements were coming to fruition, which was really causing me a lot of concern. But I just wanted to see Arsenal go out there and treat this game as a one-off almost, forget about the league for a second, just go out there, win this game, and then let's start to build some momentum. Because I fully align with what Declan Rice said in midweek, that I do think this team can win all of our remaining games. I don't see, apart from maybe that City one, I could see us winning the majority of those matches, but cut out the errors, do a lot better, and I think that could start today.
Yeah, and I understand that, but my confidence is starting to wane a little bit, Mervyn. Obviously, with Brentford, I wasn't that upset with the result, but Wolves, I actually couldn't even talk about it the next day, even with my Arsenal colleagues. I was just, one of our managers is West Ham, and we were talking. I just said, I can't talk about it. I said, that is the Arsenal of old, isn't it? That mistake that reminded me of the Birmingham Carabao, whatever it was, Littlewoods Cup final. Do you remember with Was it
Yeah.
Chesney and what's his name? I can't remember his name, the defender. I said it, the French bloke. It reminded me of that so much. I think I've got the right two players. I can't remember the French guy's name because I've got my brain fog. Someone will tell me in the chat. And that moment, I went like this. I went, no! And that was that, wasn't it? That was that. And that, to it felt like a loss. People still say we lost to Wolves. We didn't. We got a point against the worst team in the league. So coming into this, and I know Tottenham are poor. I'm not here to say that, we played a really good Spurs side, but I think our confidence has been shot. Don't you, Mervyn?
Um, a bit maybe. I mean, I don't think it's confidence necessarily. I think it's we've had a run of games where, I mean, we were very strong in the first half of the season, and we seem to have a way to win every game, a way to play that limited the opposition. And we've had a couple of games recently, Wolves, obvious example, where we probably let it slip a bit. We haven't been on top of it. I know that we were having a discussion when I was on, not then, but a couple of weeks ago, and about the Arsenal. Are we losing? Are we losing the impetus, if you like, in the title race? But I've always been confident, and the first thing that I saw, I think, after Wednesday night was something showing that in the last 8 games, Arsenal and City have got exactly the same record, exactly the same number of wins, exactly the same number of losses, exactly the same number of draws. And it just gave me a bit more confidence that actually, we're just assuming that we're going to start dropping points and City are going to win every game left. And they have won a couple of difficult ones. But, I don't think so. I think it's what I saw this afternoon has given me confidence that we can go to the Etihad and not lose.
So yeah, that's a little bit. I don't even want to think about that.
I'm running away myself a little bit there, but I think that's the game that's going to be crucial.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not being funny. Mervyn and James, Mervyn and I are a little bit older than you, and I've been here before with trying to go for the league, trying to win, even the Champions League in 2006. It is not enjoyable anymore. It becomes torture, and also playing your North London rivals in the derby when you are desperately lacking confidence, and that happens in the last minute against Wolves. But in a funny way, James, when you look back over the game today, and we'll start that in a second, start the actual, it would be good to start, wouldn't it, that frigging crappy comms shit. What they should have done was just gone back to normal and use flags, I mean, it's an embarrassment around the world. People are watching that. But anyway, let's not go on about that. It becomes like torture to the point where you're thinking, not only if we lose to the worst Spurs side I think I've ever seen, to take it out of our hands. City could have gone top next weekend because we don't play till Sunday. And it's all that, James, isn't it? It all gets into the psyche. Then it will have the social media aspects with Sky all ramping it up this week about, are they going to bottle it, which I hate that term for any club anyway, again. Are they going to do this? They're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. But yet now it's turned on its head, and now we're 5 points clear. I know City have got a game in hand. We'll still be top by the time we play Chelsea, regardless of the score. We can have a rest. I don't think we're actually playing this week, are we? For the first time in weeks. So James, it gives us that. So playing Tottenham today, actually, when you think about it, was probably the best thing for us. And being away from home as well. The away fans were absolutely superb. To be fair, the first 10 or 15 minutes, I couldn't hear them because Tottenham were just booming it all through their speakers by the sounds of it. And, I'm rambling because I'm just like so stressed with it all that I want to get back to actually enjoying it like a few months ago when we were just, every time Saka had a shot, he was scoring, and we don't seem to score from set pieces at the no corners and stuff like that. So James, going into this, were you confident of a win? Because I thought we could have got a draw.
Well, like I said at the start, if this team wants to win the league, they had to win this game. So I was that was my way of feeling going into the match. You know, either win or it's not happening.
Yeah,
And on paper, this is a derby, right? But this is a terrible Spurs team. It's really
yeah,
bad Spurs team, and they've got so many players out injured. We've got plenty of options. I would have felt very confident if Havertz had been back in the sides, but wasn't to be. But we still had really good options there. I liked the team lineup. I thought Eze had probably his best game since the North London derby back at the Emirates. But we've got to play like this every week. It's as simple as that. The problem with Arsenal at the moment is we're running hot and cold. We'll play really well. We batter Sunderland, we batter Leeds, then we go to Wolves, put in that performance. It's like, where the hell was that come from? So we just need to
yeah.
maintain a bit of consistency. We just need to not let the emotion get into our head too much, because we've got a lot of winnable games coming up. I look at our remaining fixtures and there's only that one against City where I think, okay, that is a really tough game, but everything outside of that we should win. But then because of that Wolves game, I'm looking at games like Brighton away and thinking, oh, that's potentially a scary game as well. So, this was a tough game against an opposition that would have done absolutely anything to have stopped us in our tracks. But it's those games against Brighton, Everton, Crystal Palace on the final day of the season. Hopefully we know where we are by then. But these are the games that I want to see Arsenal kill instantly. Score early, kill it off. And that's what I thought we were going to do against Wolves in midweek, but I don't want to keep backtracking to that. So in answer to
No.
the question, I was quietly confident, but I needed to see Arsenal do it on the pitch. And for the majority of the game, they showed a really good side of themselves today. It's just a case of we've got to bring this into every game now.
And the thing is, Mervyn, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you were before the game, because we haven't, we messaged this morning and stuff, and I gave you the link
Yeah.
for this. And I for days have really struggled with this, with the build up. I think it's my age. I think it's the fact that I don't have I can't deal with uncertainty anymore, which is becoming a problem watching our team. I feel so much love for all of them. And and I've said this till I'm blue in the face, that I have supported Victor Gyökeres since day one. I argue with the guy in my office every week about him and said, you've got to give the boy time, which we'll go into in a minute. Eze hasn't even started for God knows how long, and starts ending up running the game and scoring two beautiful goals, being involved in everything. It's just been a very, very strange couple of days, because I think it was the tide was turning, wasn't it, a little bit? I didn't watch City Newcastle last night. I didn't even look for the result. I predicted 4-0 to Newcastle. I then watched a thing where they pushed Dan Burn into an offside position and he scores. If you're not giving the goal, you've got to give a penalty. You get away with that. Then that Rivas player, whatever his name is, City player, that jumps into the other player and he gets no yellow. And you start to think, is this going to happen again? Is it going their way? And then, luckily enough, we turned up today, didn't we?
We most certainly did. I think that you and I are of a vintage where we've seen this all unravel. I won't mention '89 because I know Chris doesn't like it, but we saw that unravel. Drawing at home to Wimbledon and stuff. When we've got 2 games to win the league and stuff. So we kind of know that the dream can come true. Wolves was disappointing. It was very disappointing because obviously it was right at the end. And had that not gone in, had we won that game, then you would have been feeling very different the last couple of days. We'd have been very confident, but we are getting concerned. As I said, I was the fact that us and City got exactly the same record for the last 8 games. In fact, it cheered me up a little bit, because it's not like they're catching us up. Okay, looks like we're dropping points, but it's not like they are suddenly winning every week and overtaking us. And I think that's the point last time I was making, because they got that win at the last minute against Liverpool. And I'm saying that had they not got that last minute winner, it would be a different conversation. So that will happen, and they're probably saying tonight, Spurs didn't even try, or it's kind of like they probably felt they were in with a chance of watching Spurs at least get a draw with us. and so they could go top next Saturday night and stuff. So it is a long haul. There are twists and turns. It's not like the Invincible season where we kind of just turned up every week knowing that it was highly unlikely we were going to lose. It's different to that, and I'm still confident. I mean, I liked the way they came back today. I mean, we're obviously going to talk a bit more about different parts of the game. I was a bit concerned at first. They did seem quite physical, Spurs, but they got a new manager who's probably coached them all week to be like that, to not give us any time to settle, to not give us any time to start picking passes. And they were obviously started, playing to that playbook. But, once we got into the second half, and the fact that we gave the first goal away so soon afterwards, the equaliser, was a concern. But once we went ahead again in the second half, it felt different. I know I'm racing through the game here, and I shouldn't do, but overall, it felt to me a lot more comfortable in the second half than I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I want to start at the beginning, but it's hard with a game like this. You want to just keep dipping into certain things, like I was talking about Victor and stuff like that. Let's just talk about. We kicked off, and then how long was it until the comms went down and we just sat here for 10 minutes doing nothing? I can't remember what time that was. We were.
Yeah, it was only 5 or 6 minutes in, wasn't it? Was it 5 or 6 minutes?
Wasn't long at all.
Yeah.
No, and we were on top, weren't we? We were doing all right. We'd played, we had the ball, we had possession. And I thought, this is typical. I know it's not Spurs' fault or anything they did, but, you're sitting there going, we were on top here. I think it was about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But, yeah, I felt generally okay. I'm not sure how our defence is doing at the moment, James. They're not as strong as as they were. But anyway, let's just go through the first half. James, your take on the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we started brilliantly. I thought we flew out of the traps. We had that really good chance. I think it was Saka beat Sarr on the right-hand side. Or am I thinking of one of the goals already? I can't quite remember. But I know there was a ball into the box. Gyökeres had that header, which was quite tame, to be honest. But it was good early chances. Then he also had that other chance where he took it round Dragusin, and then had that really good shot, which just went narrowly wide of the post. So, yeah, I was encouraged. But obviously, there was that absolute farce with the communications, and that just killed any momentum we had. Yeah. And I think just getting back into our stride, into our swagger after that point was a little bit difficult, but I think we got there. I don't know if you want me to jump ahead to the goal, but I mean, that was a really important time to score. This is where I'm thinking of Saka beating Sarr. A little bit fortunate in the way he gets around him, but again, perseveres. For Saka had a really good game. Then Eza miscontrols it, but then fires it into the back of the net. And who else would you want to score? His first shot on target since that North London derby, which is crazy to think, but right place, right time. I wouldn't want anyone else to have scored that goal. And yeah, up until that point, pretty much the perfect half, you'd have to say.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it, Mervyn? Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that's once we went ahead, that's the way I felt as well. That we've scored early-ish. We look like we're on top. What we can't do is ease off in any way to let them back into the game. Is obviously what I was thinking at the time. But obviously, that was not to be. No sooner had we kicked off, they kicked off. Yeah.
Sorry, Mo. The irony of Declan Rice going around telling everyone to think, calm.
Yeah.
And he does that, which is really surprising for me with him, because boot the ball into row Z. Are you not taught this anymore, Mervyn? I mean, he's trying to do a nutmeg in an area where it's so dangerous that leads to a goal 24 seconds later. I'm up celebrating Eze, going, oh my God, I can't believe Eze's done it again. A lovely goal, all this. By the time I even sat down, they've scored.
I know, it was kind of, it was a concern. And the fact, I mean, I won't race on, but I mean, after they equalised, there was a period where it looked like we, not shell-shocked, but it didn't look to me as if we were going to get kind of control back.
Yeah, I mean, I just to add on to what you're saying there, Mev, I think there were a couple of moments not too long after we scored where we started to see those same mistakes, those same patterns that we saw at Wolves creeping into the game again. The odd misplaced pass from Saliba, from Timber, from Gabriel, you know, just shaky moments that 4, 5, 6 months ago, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. And I'm confident that was this a game that was, you know, back in September or October, we don't concede that goal. I have no idea what Rice is doing it. I don't even know why he intercepts that ball because he doesn't need to. It's going straight back to David Raya. And I was really, really disappointed with Rice in that moment because obviously, you know, we know what happened with him against Nottingham Forest where we saw him talking right in front of the camera. Then he did that interview in midweek, which I thought was really good. And, you know, he's one of these guys that I personally look at and think, I trust you with my life. You know, I think you are one of the safest pair of hands we've possibly got. And then obviously, I think similarly with David Raya, with Gabriel, we saw them have a bit of a howler in midweek. But you don't expect it from Declan Rice. You really don't. And I don't know what he was thinking. I think it was just a rush of blood to the head. I think he was so pumped up after scoring that goal. Just the adrenaline was flowing through him. That's all I can put it down to. And then I know Gary Neville was going on about, Saliba's got to do a lot better there. But if he does any more than what he's already doing, he's going to give away a penalty. So, I mean, we absolutely gift Kolo Muani his first goal in the Premier League. You know, his first goal contribution. He's not had a goal. He's not had an assist. Lo and behold, Arsenal come along. Fill your boots, mate. Fill your boots. But, really disappointing in that moment because Spurs have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then they get their tails up. And, you know, thankfully, you know, I don't think we had a massive wobble after that goal and we regrouped pretty well, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. But it's these errors and these moments of madness where I still question. I know it's been a great win today. I don't want to take a gloss of it, but we can't see this anymore. You know, we've seen it too often. Even going back to the Brentford game, we saw it then. Man United, Zubimendi, this has been happening a lot post-Christmas. And there's been a lot of games where we've conceded very, very soon, like within 15 minutes of going ahead. Cannot happen. Spurs are a terrible team. I'm not saying we've gotten away with it today. We've done well to kill that game, but it has to be a wake-up call now. Do that again against better opposition, which the majority of the teams we're going to play are in this last kick of the season, and we won't be coming away with 3 points, you know? So cut out those errors. Doesn't matter if you're Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, David Raya, Noni Madueke. Stop it. Keep it simple sometimes.
Yeah, and I think you go into the you know, the halftime break and you're like, we need to come out and do exactly what we've been doing, but take the chances. We had so many chances, didn't we? Trossard was inches wide. Victor was inches wide first half. I mean, to be fair, we could have probably got about 6, 7 today. To be fair, and that's not me like over exaggerating it. However, we didn't. But so coming out second half, I also would like just to touch on a few things as well. The errors that Timber's making, which I'm shocked at because that boy has been absolutely magnificent for most of this season. Yet the last 4 or 5 games, he doesn't seem to be on it. Which worries me slightly because where is Ben White? Is he injured again? Because he wasn't on the bench, was he? So that's a little bit of a problem for me there. Trossard and Martinelli, as I said at the very beginning in August, they're like super subs. I don't really want to see them on for the whole game. I don't think they're on form either. So there's little like errors now, Mervyn, creeping in to players that I never expected. Gabby, Saliba, I think the only one I'm quite confident with, weirdly, is Mascara. He comes on and does a good job all the time, doesn't he? We would touch wood with that one. And Hincapi, I mean, I'm really rating Hincapi. I think he's exactly what we need, a bit of that South American fire, but
yeah.
Go ahead, Mervyn, say whatever. I just was thinking about some of the things that I was thinking during the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a concern. But then it's a long season. There will be individual mistakes. We know that. It's kind of, we've been watching football, all of us, for a long time. There you go. Say why are these errors creeping in? I mean,
Yeah, Gary
as you
Pepperman
go
said, "Why are
through a
these
seat, yeah,
errors creeping in?" I don't get it.
as you
I
go
don't either.
as well, as you go through a season, all players will go through patches where they're not quite on top of it as they are in other games, and it's kind of it. You know, we've got, as we've already said, now a week's rest and stuff. So it's kind of, you know, when you're playing a game every 2, 3, 4 days. And then we've got, you know, again, we've got a week's rest. Then we play Chelsea on Sunday. We go to Brighton on the Wednesday night. And it's like, it's kind of, it's too much. Although we've got a decent sized squad, and they did invest in the squad, obviously in the summer. It feels like there's a core of players that we rely on. David Raya, Declan Rice, obviously William Saliba, Gabriel, Bakayo. Yeah, we rely on these. And if one of them is just off their game or one of them makes a mistake, we at the moment it doesn't feel like there's other players that are stepping in. If you see what I mean, I don't know if I'm explaining it well. It's just that
No,
you know where the core players, if you like, the undroppables, make a mistake. None of the other players are really stepping in to cover that, or we can't. You know, we can't say let's give Saliba a rest, let's give Gabriel a rest. Well, we could with Mosquera, and he's looking better and better every time he plays. But on the whole, it's kind of, I think, yeah, we need our strongest 11 out there, and I think that the only concern over games like Wolves and things is that are one or two players almost getting a bit tired, mentally tired. You know, we've got this chase on.
Can I just talk to you, Mervyn, about Zubimendi? Because I think Norgard should be given a game. And someone's actually just said it, funny enough. I was just thinking that as you were saying it, because I really like Norgard. I think he just gives us something different. I think Zubimendi needs a rest. So, sorry, I just want to ask James that. What do you feel about Norgard coming in for Zubimendi occasionally? I don't think he's as bad a signing as people thought he was at the beginning of the season.
No, I think, to be honest, the ship has sailed on that. I think if we were going to see it, we'd have seen it. And I completely agree. I really like Norgard. Every time I've seen him play, I've thought this guy looks really solid, really dependable, really good. Thought he was great against Wigan. Thought he's been really good in the Champions League games he's played. He's played centre midfield. He's played at centre half. He's really neat, really tidy. And exactly for the likes of Wolves away, that's where you bring someone like Norgard in, and he's a player with a point to prove that's very professional. He'd have been perfect for that game, as I think someone like Ben White would have been. We're not talking wholesale changes here, but it's games like Wolves away where you can bring in Norgard, you can bring in Ben White, you can potentially bring in a Miles Lewis-Skelly, freshen it up a little bit, keep it moving, keep it different, rather than... I think this is the reason why we drop. I really do why we drop points against Wolves, because you're playing the likes of Zubimendi, Jurrien Timber into the ground, and look, they're experienced guys. They should be used to be playing, several days in a row. But you've got a squad for a reason, and Norgard is a very capable player. Brentford captain, plays hundreds of games in the Premier League. Ben White, been at this team for absolutely ages, knows the Premier League inside out. Experienced guy. You can play these against bottom of the league away from home, and you're still going to win that game, and you give those players extra motivation. You keep the squad fresh, and I would like to see Norgard come in for some of these games towards the end of the season, especially when you factor in we've got a Carabao Cup final, we've got more games to go in the FA Cup, we've got the Premier League, we've got the Champions League. Zubimendi cannot play every single one of those games, right? So for Everton at home, for example, play Norgard, please. I want to see it. What is the worst that can happen? If you've got Declan Rice and Erdegaard or Eze or whoever it is alongside him in midfield, or Kai Havertz, I'm pretty confident the level's still going to stay pretty similar, or give you something different, hopefully in a positive sense. So I want to see it. And if there's anything that Arteta's going to learn or needs to learn, it's that you need to use that guy along with some of the other players, like Lewis-Skelly, like Ben White, if we're going to keep this squad fresh, because the games in this last chunk of the season are going to be coming thicker and faster than they ever have done. And I just worry that, we're seeing these little mistakes emerging from Zubimendi, from Jurrien Timber, and that's just as a result of them playing pretty relentlessly at the minute.
Yeah, everyone in the chat,
Yeah.
hit the like button. I like that, Karen Russell. Please hit the like button and the bell button and everything. We're having trouble with uploading to Twitter at the moment. So whoever's watching, thank you very much. And whoever's listening, thank you very much. If you could like us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you listen to us, that would be great. So thank you for that, Karen. Mervyn, I just want to come back to that, James mentioned about Eza. I mean, what is it about Eze playing against Tottenham? I did not even predict that today. I was just hoping he was going to have a good game. But another 2 goals.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of one of those things that it is almost like it's meant to be because of obviously with him about to join Spurs and then joining us and then the hat trick and then doing it again today. I mean, his best 2 games of the season have been the 2 games against Spurs.
Yeah.
I think he has come on at times and been a little disappointing. And that's just my own take.
No, I agree.
And obviously the people who sit next to me and everything, yeah, we talk. And I was a bit concerned today, but having said that, he did exactly what he needed to do, and it might be that he's the kind of player that it's going to take a season or 2 to really fit in. It's we're kind of using him as somebody to bring in when somebody needs a rest or somebody we bring him in for the last half hour or something. And the 2 games he started, he has started others, but the 2 key games he started against Spurs, he's looked very good. And he's done exactly probably what we thought he was brought to do. But I think we've got a squad. Everybody wants to play. We hopefully are winning the league, and everybody wants to play every game. And so it's squad management. And you are right. I mean, Norgard, every time I've seen him, and when I used to see him at Brentford, I thought he's a nice, neat player, very good player, solid, won't make any mistakes, won't let you down. And it does seem a bit strange that we're not, using him, particularly as we've been here before with other players where you sign them from something like La Liga and they are not used to the intensity week in, week out of the kind of games they have to play here. So, we have seen that before with players we've signed in, particularly in Arsene Wenger's days, where they come in from leagues where, it's not an intense game week in, week out. And so, I am a bit surprised he's not been given more rest time. And I am a bit surprised, unless there's something goes on in training we don't know, why Norgard isn't getting more minutes.
I know. But the goals, let's just go on. So it's 1-1. We come out in the second half. James, run us through the second goal. And then I felt after the second goal, I was like, please, just hold on. I don't care if you kill the ball, kick the ball upfield. Sorry, my brain today. Kick the ball upfield, get it out for throw-ins. I couldn't care less. Let's just not be stupid. But what a goal that was.
Yeah, we couldn't have started that second half any better. And you do worry that if 10, 15, 20 minutes go by and no matter how on top we are, if you don't get that goal, it's always going to feel nervy and Spurs are just going to keep growing in confidence. So to score pretty much as soon as we walked out for that second half, really good. And it's a really good ball from Yuri and Timber, who I suppose I've been a little bit critical of in this podcast so far, but he did really well. But you also have to credit Eza for occupying one of the centre halves and creating that space for Gyökeres, who just does exactly what we brought him in to do. Really, really good finish. I know that we always look at him as kind of a 6-yard striker, but he's got that in his locker and he's showing it more and more. I mean, I'm not going to jump ahead to his second goal, but that was equally very, very good. But this finish was, world class, sort of finish Thierry Henry would be proud of. And just took the pressure off. I wouldn't say it totally took the pressure off because it's only 1 goal and it's still very edgy, but it's just like, look, we're here, we mean business. And to restore the leads so soon into that second half, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
I just loved it. Oh my God, I love that goal, Mervyn. And I think when Eze is on form, he can benefit Gyökeres so much, can't he?
Yes, yeah, he can create the chances. I mean, Gyökeres is more of a finisher. I think if we create chances, enough of them, he will score. Now, I know there will be some people probably listening to this saying, but look at all those chances he seems to miss week in, week out. But I think, if the team is set up right to actually create the chances for him, then I think next season he will probably score a lot more. That's assuming we don't go out and sign another centre forward. But and that's obviously up to the club. But I mean, I think if we give him, and it's interesting because Gary Neville all the way through was very positive about it. And it's kind of, maybe I think that I don't know if, because of the way he came and because we couldn't seem to identify last summer, a striker to come in and score 25 goals a season. Maybe people, I think there was a feeling that, was he second best? Was he kind of the best we could get? I think he's showing actually at this stage of the season that he's got what we need. And it's whether or not I think we can set up the chances for him or give him the space, because he two very good finishes today, and they weren't straightforward.
No, lovely though.
Oh, yes,
Lovely.
Yes.
It was just so lovely to see Gyökeres score a goal like that. That's what we paid him to do. One touch, beautiful shot, and it's 2-1 up. And now you're starting to think, right, let's just now build on this, be sensible, use your brains. The third goal. Now, which one was that one? Because my brain, honestly, today is just gone. James, which was the third one? Was that Eze's goal? And then Gyökeres got the fourth? I can't remember. Yeah. So, and actually, Gyökeres had a really important touch in that one, that he touched onto Eze, I think, that went to Saka, then back to Eze and scored. I mean, fabulous, isn't it? Talk us through that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, the build-up's really good. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. The build-up's really good. And Eze plays in Saka, who you think if he's just got a little bit more distance between him and his man, he chips that over Vicario. But he kind of scuffs at it, falls back to Eze. Or does it bounce off for Dragusin, who can't quite clear it? But either way, falls to Eze and slams it into the back of the net to make it 3-1. And you don't want to say game over at that point, because, it was only a 2-goal lead against Wolves. But again, I think for me and Arsenal fans around the world, massive sigh of relief as soon as that hit the back of the net. And you're thinking at that point, well, here we go again. Hat-trick's on.
Yeah, I thought that as well. We beat Tottenham at home 4-1. We beat them away 4-1. You're looking at 8-2 over aggregate. That is, I don't remember that, Mervyn, in my time of supporting Arsenal, that I've seen Tottenham play this badly. There is a big chance that they could get relegated. And we did have a question, actually, and this is really interesting. One moment, let's just go there. So James said, if Spurs did go down, would you miss the North London derby? That's a tough one, isn't it? Because we want it to go down because the banter would just be incredible every single day of our lives. It would just be the funniest that they were in the Championship, and there's no guarantee they'd come back up. But I think I'd miss it in a funny way. What about you, Merv?
Yes and no. Okay, I'm an old git, so I actually have seen Spurs relegated. And saw them have a season in the second division, where they flukily came straight back, mainly because Southampton, who won the second division that season, seemed to prefer Spurs to come up with them than Brighton. There was this odd South Coast rivalry. I mean, Southampton's rivals are supposed to be Portsmouth, but for some reason there was this Southampton-Brighton rivalry. And it was almost like the final game of the season. If Southampton would have beaten Spurs and Brighton would have won, then I might remember, if anybody of my vintage is listening, saying what you're talking about. But if Spurs had lost and Brighton had won, then Spurs would have stayed down for a season. But it didn't. They played out a tame 0-0 draw with Southampton, and because they'd both go up together then. And Brighton did win, but didn't go up. But it was. Did I miss it? Not really. It's slightly different for me, as it probably is for a lot of people listening here. I mean, I think I've said it before on a previous episode where we've talked about a Spurs game. Not half my family, but one side of my family is Spurs fan. My
And
sister
mine.
married into a Spurs into a Spurs family, so it's not the kind of relationship where I will be messaging my brother-in-law tonight saying, "Well, yeah, we stuffed you today," or anything like that. So it is a little bit kind of, growing up in North London at school, you were either Arsenal or Spurs kind of thing. So I'm kind of used to that from quite a young age. I wouldn't miss it. I would look out for their results, and quite frankly, for us at the moment, it's kind of, the real competition for us is City, possibly Liverpool again next season, possibly United, depending on what happens. And so it's kind of it's like they aren't the rivals. They're the neighbours, but they're not the rivals for the league.
No. But it's history, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
James, you're a bit younger than, Merv and I, and we always, when I was at school in the early 80s, 80 to 85. It was all Tottenham, then Arsenal were absolutely crap. I used to go to football and it'd be half the stadium empty. I'd have my legs over the front seat. We'd do the slow hand clap. We had Terry Neal, Don Howe. So, and I was at the resurgence when George Graham came in, and our lives completely changed from then on. And obviously we're not allowed to mention 89 because I get told off. But, from 87, my first ever live final, I went to Wembley to watch Charlie Nicholas, again, do the Rushy record, and Charlie Nicholas ends up with my hat and scarf running around Wembley. I mean, I was only 18 at the time, so but I think I'd miss it, not the stress, but just miss it. But I don't know, James, you're younger. Is Tottenham is it the main one you look for? Because when we were at school, we'd always look for the fixtures against Tottenham, and I still do, to be fair. But obviously, I look for City as well, and Liverpool, and whoever else, Man United probably.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I really do dislike Spurs. I really do. But I think in recent years, because they've not really been as competitive with us, and the stakes haven't been maybe as high. I mean, they're always high, but it's felt like you go into these games feeling like you should beat Tottenham because the gulf between the two teams is so big. Obviously, it's not always been like that. I remember it doesn't feel like too long ago that we went to Spurs. They beat us 3-0, and we had, the likes of El Neni and Cedric Suarez in the team, and they were the better side at that point. But also, I remember going back to horrible games when we used to play them at White Hart Lane, and they had Gareth Bale and Van der Vaart and Modric, and they were obviously a much better team than this current version. So I didn't enjoy it then. Really didn't enjoy it then. If they were to get relegated, would I miss it? Not particularly. I'll be honest with you. I do love beating Spurs at home. It's always a great feeling, but I would much rather comfortably beat City at home, to be quite honest with you. At this current point in time, that's how I feel. If we went to the Etihad and did what we did today, I would much prefer that. I think I'd get a lot more out of that. But I always enjoy beating Spurs. But if they want to take a bit of a sabbatical in the Championship for a season or two, hey, no problem.
Yeah, so let's just go on to the last goal. So we're 3-1 up, and Carl's like, yeah, we've done this with 10 minutes to go, Mervyn. I'm like, I went absolutely mental, because I could see that if they did get a fluke goal, and we will talk about Gabby's push and Raya's incredible. Well, I can't even go there, honestly, with that push from the bloody goal line. It was brilliant, that save. Sorry, I'm going off on one, because to come live straight the second the whistle goes, I haven't even got my head together. So I'm not being the best host tonight. So where was I, Mervyn? Where was I going? The fourth, 3-1. Sorry, I was saying to Cole, they get one back, 3-2. Not only will we panic, beyond panic, the whole of the Tottenham crowd will be up. And I could have seen it going to 3-0 because of our panic. We would have made mistakes. So at 3-1, I still wasn't like that. And I was desperate to get the fourth so I could actually enjoy it. I was messaging my dad, because we always do during the game. And I was saying, get one more and I can actually dance around the living room. I just, I can enjoy it. But 3-1's always a bit dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it can be because you psychologically you think it's done, and then suddenly it's kind of you in your head, whether you're playing or watching, you kind of it's kind of done, and you're looking forward to seeing just rolling to the end of the game, and then suddenly it goes to 3-2, and then you worry, probably more than the players are worrying. And so, yeah, it was very important that we didn't let them back in once we had the 2-goal lead. But to me, they didn't look like they were going to come back. I mean, psychologically, I mean, we saw fans like beginning to exit with like 7-8 minutes to go.
Well, 10
and I
minutes to go.
think
I pointed that out. Why would you leave with 10 minutes to go?
I don't know. You'll have to ask a Spurs fan. But it was. I didn't actually feel. Having said that, I've got to own up and say I didn't actually see Wolves coming back on Wednesday night either. But I having witnessed that on Wednesday night, I didn't have the same feeling today. I felt the game was over, and psychologically for them, having just changed manager, new manager, and has probably put everything into it, and they probably felt like they were beaten. And so it didn't. I wasn't overly worried about them coming back into it because I think they didn't look like. To me, they didn't look like they were about to kind of really push back at us and score twice or something. I could have been wrong, but it seemed like it was a case of playing out time and us not making any silly mistakes.
But getting the fourth, though, James, was just beautiful, wasn't it? That was that. At that minute, that second, that ball goes in, it's done. 4-1, what is it, 5-6 minutes to go, whatever it is, 10 minutes, I don't know. It was just heaven. And then all of a sudden, all the relief goes, wow. Since Brentford and then Wolves, and you're like, oh, thank God, an away win, 4-1, at your rivals, another lovely goal. You're in heaven then, aren't you? And you're thinking to yourself, luck was on our side. We go back to what David Raya did. That could have easily gone in like it did against Wolves, Mervyn. Remember when it hit Calafiori? It could have come out against Wolves, couldn't it? Hit Calafiori's knee or leg and it goes against the post and it goes in. We did have a little bit of luck today, I would say, with a couple of the goals with the touches. But James, you're 4-1 up. You're looking at that and thinking, thank God, 5 points clear. I know they've got a game in hand, but we've got a week off. We've got Chelsea at home. I just think now, I think it felt like the momentum shift back to giving us confidence. The confidence we had 2 months ago, where they're going to come out against Chelsea next Sunday, James, in my head, and feel like invincible. Feel like, what would it be? Is it, where are we up to? 10 matches to go or 11? I don't know. I've lost count now.
10, isn't it?
There's 10 when we play Chelsea. It's in our hands. We win every game. We've done it. That's as simple as that. I still think City will win quite a few games. But let's just talk about, did you think it was a foul on Gabby? I didn't really understand Gary Neville. I tell you sometimes that Gary Neville, the only thing he got right tonight, James, was when we were at 2-1 or 3-1 and he said, boys, you need to get back, stop celebrating. I get that. That's the only thing I agreed with him on. The fact that he went, oh yeah, he's been pushed in the back with two hands. Yeah, but I've seen him not giving, it was a bit soft, and actually I don't think it's a foul. What is he going on about? Gabby was trying to jump. He pushes him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those ones where didn't he do this earlier on this season? I can't remember if it was maybe away at Newcastle where something similar happened to him and they didn't give the foul, and he went down quite easily. I mean, I don't think Gabriel helps in the sense that he makes it way more dramatic than he needs to be, but maybe that's because he's trying to get the referee's attention. And obviously, if he doesn't do that, then there's no foul and the goal goes in, and maybe it doesn't go to VAR because Gabriel's not reacted. So I get it. I think it was a foul. But all in all, that second half, I thought we managed it really well. There was one slight hiccup again from Declan Rice, and I hate to point it out because I do think he was pretty imperious in that second half. But there was one moment, and I can't remember if it was that Kolo Muani chance, which came from Rice getting dispossessed or losing the ball. But there was also that Richarlison chance where Raya clawed it off the line. And there were just, a couple of hairy moments. But other than that, we did really well. We got that fourth goal. I mean, Gyökeres, as much as I love this first goal, I thought that second goal, just to keep Archie Gray at arm's length and just treat him, he looked and felt like a 19-year-old in that moment, and Gyökeres just really looked like a mature, seasoned pro. And then to execute that finish, just curl it past Vicario straight into the top bins. Brilliant. I'm really pleased for him, because he needs a game like this. He needs a performance like this. He scored a lot of goals against, bottom half opposition, and this carries on with that theme. But, it's a big game away from home. It's a derby. I think, that's how you adhere yourself to the Arsenal fans. So really pleased for Gyökeres. I think he's along with Eza, he's the real winner out of today's game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And my my work colleague, who I've argued with for about, I'd say, 7 months, has finally said, "I always knew you were a good player." But at the end of the day, look, sometimes in life it takes time to settle, doesn't it, Mervyn? And let's hope he just carries on doing this. I think he's the sort of player that give him the ball and he'll score. I just really believe that. He holds the play up well. I know a lot of people are very, very down on him and don't think he's a decent footballer, but we've got something there. That goal he took, I just loved it. I think his first goal was just phenomenal. What a shot that was. But yeah, I just want to go back to the Raya. Sorry, we'll come back to Gyökeres in a sec, but the Raya, that was exactly the word I was looking for, James. Clawed it off the line. That was like another inch he would have been in. And the good thing about that is we know it's not in, because the referee's watch would have buzzed, wouldn't it, to say it was over the line. So at that point I wasn't concerned, because I looked straight at the ref and he went for a corner. So there's no debate. You don't have to go to VAR on that, thank God. But it was a really, really strange moment, because you're like, it could have been a sliding doors moment, couldn't it, Merv?
Oh, it could have been. It could have been. It would have been frustrating, because we had, got ourselves ahead and comfortable. But it's a derby game. It's we're playing a team fighting for their place in the Premier League. So you've got to expect them to come back at you. I mean, I was surprised in the second half, because I thought they would come back at us more once we went ahead again. But it kind of, I mean, you've got to expect something like that. So I think, it was incredibly important. But then he does that all the time. It's kind of my wife was watching. She doesn't really follow football, but twice she said to me, "Your goalkeeper's very good, isn't it?" Watching it today. It's all part and parcel. It's all part and parcel of a good day's work, a good afternoon's work, and it's kind of. Once we went 3-1 up, as I said earlier, I wasn't overly worried, and maybe that was just me, but I wasn't overly worried about us being pegged back to 3-3. If it 2-1, I was concerned that they would get a couple of substitutions, they get a bit of enthusiasm. If they go close once or twice, the crowd will get behind them. But it never seemed to happen. I mean, I almost had the feeling, albeit I wasn't in the ground, so I'll need to speak to a couple of my friends afterwards who I know were there. But it seemed to me that it was about 20 minutes to go, the fans had given up.
I think the fans had given up way before. I work with one of my branch managers is a Spurs fan, but and he's a referee, and he's quite a decent Spurs fan. He's one of those that's quite, not delusional. And he's just said football this season has been absolutely awful for us, Tottenham. And I was like, I have to be honest. I said to him, I've never seen such a poor side come to the Emirates, and it was just the same today. But let's not focus on them. Let's just focus on us. It was just fabulous. I feel like 4-1 in the North London derby, James. We can live all week. We can go into Chelsea a bit more confident. And it's one of these, unfortunately, every single game is going to be like this. We have to win every single game, because I will honestly mark this on the 22nd of Feb. I can't see City losing a game. I think their momentum's up now. Look how they played last night and just about won it. But it's all to play for, isn't it? All to play for.
They will lose one game. when they play us.
Us. Do you know what? If we actually win, the first time I went to the Etihad, we won, and I'd never been before in my life. It was the Giroud and Monreal and all that, and we beat them 2-1. I think Wenger was still in charge, but you know. And then I've been many times to the Etihad, and we've actually got stuffed. But Simon, Leicester, City will drop points. Now, I've said this to Cole, and I don't think they will. So, listen, I'm not ever right on my predictions, so let's hope I'm wrong. James, anything to add before we go to some of the questions?
No, just what a great day. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a difference 3 days makes. 4 days.
I'm still in shock that we've actually won convincingly, because it's been tough, isn't it, lately? John Rowe, question: does Havertz start if fully fit?
Yes.
Me, yes, and yes. I said
Next
to
week,
Carl tonight. Yeah, I said to Carl today, we've so missed him. He said, you're being ridiculous. He hasn't played all season. I said, but when he came back, he was incredible. And the work, you know, the way he interacted with Gyökeres as well, fabulous. So all yes on that one? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
fine. Another one from John. Should we buy Hincapié at the end of the season?
Yep.
Yep. Loving
Well,
these.
I'm guessing that's what they might be doing, because aren't there rumours about Calafiori maybe being moved on?
Really? Why? Because of injuries?
I don't know where I said it. No, I think it was because of I think he's not as solid in that role as they want him to be, and I think he's a bit too attack-minded, something like that. I can't remember where I read it. It might have been in the Athletic.
Well, you heard it here first on the Same Old Arsenal podcast.
I'm sorry about that. I'll try to dig back and share it.
Oh, funny. Right. Okay. Karen Russell, what do you think Mikel told the boys at half time? Go on, James.
I don't really think he had to say a great deal, to be honest. I think the players, and especially Declan Rice, will have been well aware of what had gone wrong in that first half. And it's just one massive brain fart that has resulted in us being pegged back. Otherwise, we should have been out of sight. So I think it's just a case of stay calm, don't lose your head like I was losing my head at half time, and go out there and kill this game. And thankfully, we did that straight away. So I don't think they had to say a lot, to be honest, at half time.
Mervyn, anything to add to that?
No, I don't think so. I think he probably would have told them to go out and carry on doing what they were doing. He would probably, ironed out one or two creases, shall we say. But I think he probably would have told them to attack certain parts of the pitch, to push on to certain Spurs players who he possibly had perceived in the first half weren't kind of, strong, were people they could, push on. So I think he probably does that every half time. But I think he would have been, although it was all square, I think he would have been happy. I think he would have just pretty much told them to go out and carry on doing what they're doing, but to take their chances better.
Absolutely, that's what I think. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Let's have a little bit of fun. I did see this. Did anyone see the Arsenal fan in the UAE end with the dole of Thomas Frank with an Arsenal shirt on? Did you all see this?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Oh, it's funny, Merv. Honestly, I was like, "Who's that? Is that Arteta?" Then I was like, "Oh my god, it's Thomas Frank." I do find that the banter at football is just so funny at times. It really is. Right. Okay. What next? Chelsea. So let's get some predictions from everybody in the chat room as well. We play Chelsea next week. Is it 4:30 next Sunday?
Yeah,
4:30 next Sunday. It's
another 4:30.
I can't bear these 4:30s. Mervyn, prediction.
I'm trying to remember. Next week, City play again before us, don't they?
They do on the Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, away to Leeds. We've got to win. I mean, I think but I think Chelsea will be smarting because of the Carabao Cup semi-final defeat. I think Rossignol has probably been there, for enough weeks now to get them playing a certain way, but also to because of the Carabao Cup semi-final, to maybe get a game plan. So I think obviously I think we will win, but I don't think it will be easy, and I think that we would probably need to score fairly early to set the tone, but I think we're going to have to score 2 or 3 because I think they'll be coming back at us.
So what's your prediction? I've gone 2-1.
I'll say 3-2.
Okay. James?
Yeah, again, just to echo what Merv said, we have to win that game. Like, absolutely have to at home. And I think at home, I'm backing us too. And we're, again, at a bit of an advantage against Chelsea, where they're going to be missing Fofana, who got himself sent off yesterday. So I think that they're a team that can be got at. I mean, they sacrificed the lead to Burnley. They sacrificed a 2-0 lead to Leeds. So we can definitely get at their defence. So I'm not, wouldn't say confident, but again, it's just a game that, like I've said, all pods have to win it if we've got aspirations to win the league, and I back the boys to do it with a 2-0 win.
Oh, you're going 2-0. You're the only one with a clean sheet. Right, it's 10-8.
Few and far between at the minute, clean sheets.
Yeah.
They seem to have fallen off a bit of a cliff edge recently.
All right, I'll take 4-1.
I'll take it. No, I don't mind. Do you remember back in October when we were going like 6, 7, 8 games without considering a shot on target? That feels like a long way away.
That?
Oh, yes.
Doesn't it feel like we've had so many different seasons within the season? Honestly, It's like so many different parts to it where teams weren't even shooting against us, let alone us even drawing a game, and how many corners we used to take and score from, which we're not doing now so much. But, listen, everybody, I just want to say thanks to everybody for joining. I'm sorry I'm really been all over the place. It's just really tough. The minute after you've won in a North London derby where I've been so stressed for hours and hours on end. As I said, Chris was unwell and he was going to host. I was just going to sit here and chip in now and again. But I hope you've enjoyed the show. Mervyn, thanks so much for coming on. Always a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. James, as always, take us away. But you know what? Enjoy your week, Gooners. Enjoy the banter, because I'm sure all of you are going to have it just like me, where you walk into work tomorrow and you just got a big smile on your face. We're 5 points clear. We're off to a Wembley final. And also, I would just like to say on here, it's my mum's 80th birthday on Tuesday. The fact that she allows us, me and my dad, to put Arsenal first all the time over her 50, 60 years of being my dad is just incredible. So happy birthday to my wonderful mother, who comes from a Spurs family. That's all I'm going to say. Good night, everyone.